Welcome to this edition of Builder Show Insider, where we're going to give you the behind-the-scenes look at the 2026 International Builder Show. Today we have Linda Hebert and John Freer. They're in town with the Education Selection Committee for this year's show. We're just going to talk a little bit about how this education gets selected and give you a little look into what makes up the education portion of the show. So Linda, can you give people just a little bit of your background and history with NAHB?
Oh, with NAHB. Well, I'm diversified marketing and communications. I'm also VP of sales and marketing for a builder. I've been involved in NAHB for probably 30 years.
I know you were the convention committee chair.
I was a couple of years ago.
Right.
I've also chaired communications. I've also chaired Sales and Marketing Council. I've also chaired the Professional Women in Building. So, been around a bit.
Yeah, for sure. And John, I know we were trying to determine if we've met before, but we think probably. I've been here a long time.
At some point in the last 30 years, we probably did cross paths at NAHB.
So what all have you done with NAHB?
I started with NAHB as a subject matter expert, doing some of the course development, working in the education end of it, and then have been involved in convention education. This is my second round on the convention education subcommittee, the education committee, green and sustainable working groups, a myriad of other things with NAHB.
That's a lot.
In my illustrious career.
Great. I know as we were walking down here, the two of you mentioned that you were like on page 112 of 600 or something. So you're in town today and tomorrow, and you're going through, I assume, every possible proposal?
We do, yeah. I think we've got almost 700 proposals total this year, somewhere over 600, and this is really. It's not quite the end, but it's coming to the culmination of the work that we've been doing now for probably the last 6 or 7 months. The work starts almost at IBS. We start planning for the next year and preparing the request for proposals, and it's quite a process.
Right, and I heard from Kirby, who's worked with education the last, probably 10 years, that this year, like you're in town to do this portion. But can you give people an overview as to what has happened to get us to this point? So they put in their proposals, and then there were various steps to get to this portion.
Sure. Yeah, as I mentioned, we really started back at IBS last year in filling out the composition of the committee, and we work really hard to make sure we've got a well-rounded group of individuals who have the subject matter expertise to really look at all the proposals. But once the proposals come in, they go through a pretty significant process. They're reviewed by individual stakeholder groups within the association, so there are member groups in each area. They have some internal staff review, and then this year it was new this year in the process where we actually did some attendee surveys after we got the proposals in. I think you can talk a little bit about that probably.
Yeah, and that was a new addition to the whole process this year. And I wanted to back up just a moment because we actually changed the process a little bit. We actually start with actually taking a look at the RFP process and refining that a bit as well. So we made a couple of changes so that there were fewer opportunities to submit an RFP. But so we've gotten better proposals by doing that. Yeah. So you're not just getting a bunch. But then to go back to the review of our members, it was just, would you maybe attend, or you would not attend at all?
Right. I thought that was really interesting because we in marketing, I know, sent that out. And that is, it's really interesting to say, would this even pique your interest to want to attend? So I think that's a really interesting addition. So how do you weigh that when you get to today?
So we actually, in the packets that we receive, that's one of the columns so it's an aggregate number. So if you had 1 to 3 and you're at a 2.9, we know that that's a topic that somebody will attend. If it's a 1.0,
right,
probably not as much. So we take a look at all of those that are in that same general field and kind of take a look at
how they
as
compare
one of the
to each other.
scores.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's interesting. And you've been on this committee in the past too, or no?
I have. Yeah,
Okay.
this is my third year.
And you're the vice chair,
Vice
correct?
chair.
And you're the chair. I should have said that at the very beginning. You're the chair. Is there anything you've done about a half a day? Are there some that you're just like, oh, this is amazing. I think people are going to love this. Or what's kind of standing out to you a half a day?
There's a lot of really good ones. That's the hardest part about doing
Right.
this work is we get, as I mentioned, upwards of 500-600 submissions,
Right.
and there's a lot of really good ones, and we have to work to really whittle those down to probably about 85 general knowledge sessions that we hold in the big rooms, and then another 60 that are in our central education. But yeah, there's a lot of great ones. I think we've definitely figured out that AI is a hot topic.
Oh
we
my
have
gosh,
we have
yeah.
AI proposals across almost every track that we're
Wow.
looking at. But yeah, there's a lot of great proposals.
That's awesome.
And it's interesting how they actually do rise to the top. And then there is conversation. The stakeholder group may say that it's an essential program. We don't see the data that's actually supporting that potentially. And then you have the members that may have ranked that high or low. So you can take all of that together and make a determination. But there's some that they're essential across the board. It's like, okay,
Right.
yep, those are,
Right.
they're in.
And I know we do extensive surveying after the show. We always talk about, and I know you're very familiar with this because you chaired the committee. We, the report that we generate just for attendee survey is 400 pages of what people liked, what they didn't like, what they'd like to see. And there is a subset of that is devoted just to education. So I think, to me, that's what's really interesting about the education program is I would have to assume a lot of people are like, they just kind of gather it up and, this is what you're going to see. But the amount of work and data and opinions and now this new ranking with potential attendees, the hope is the education just gets better every single year. For someone who hasn't attended education in the past, what would you tell them about the education program? Like, why do you think it's a vital, important part of the show?
I can't even imagine not having the education aspect of it. That really, for me, as part of being involved with NHB, is what drove me to come, to actually learn something. I really like how the education sessions are put into tracks. So I, as a sales and marketing person, know these are the tracks that I should attend or the sessions I should attend. I have come to know some of the speakers that have come through from time to time, and I tend to follow them as well. So,
yeah, and I'll echo the same thing. It's what had drawn me into NAHB when I was really just a fledgling builder, and I didn't know what I didn't know. And the first IBS I attended and the education sessions that I went to were just absolutely amazing. And I think for me, and what the group does, we really try to hold true to that so that what we put out there for members is really valuable. So whatever the track they're into, whether it's sales and marketing or project management, they go to the session, they leave that session with some really good, actionable knowledge that they can take back and make their company better or their process better. And it's really, I think we have some of the best education.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And I know, I've been with NHB 20 years, and I think it was maybe around 15 years ago, there were a lot of comments around NHB's Builder Show education that it's always the same speaker, it's always the same topic. And I know at that point, NHB created this position that Kirby filled for quite a while. Kirby now, is a contractor, but with the intention that this is an area we really need to improve. And to me, it's like night and day what it used to be. I know I know that there is an intention and that there's always new speakers that are coming into the circuit. So it isn't like, we're going to hear so-and-so. Not that we don't have some great speakers that speak every year, they pack a room, but new people are being exposed to the whole process, which is great.
And it's hard to find that balance, and we work really
Sure.
hard for that. We do. We want to maintain that high level of quality, and when you have a speaker that year after year fills the room and gets rave reviews, you want to keep them in the mix, but you also want to leave space to bring new speakers in. I think we did. I think it's been about 3 years now where the Convention Education Subcommittee also took over overseeing the central education, and that's been a really great opportunity to bring in new speakers.
Right.
And speakers that haven't had enough practice at the national level, and it's been a really great training ground to find new talent and new speakers and help us keep that balance.
Right.
I also think that the scoring system, I think the final reviews mean a lot. We actually take that data and that information, and you guys put it back out, so there's actually speaker scores.
So you mean if
ongoing.
somebody has spoken in the past, then you look at how they performed and what people said.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
how many are attending. That so we really do have numbers and data that's tied to the achievement of those particular speakers.
Right.
And I think that's been valuable, and we've started implementing that in the centrals as well, just to get some additional data on those to be able to move them into the next arena. It's been really valuable.
Yeah, and I think what's good for people to know that education, you need an Expo Plus education pass to attend education. You can also register as a first-time attendee, which that registration is only open to members who have not attended the show in the past, but it's a discounted registration that gives you access to education. But the Centrals programs are open to anyone. So anyone who registers for the show could attend the Centrals. So I think it's also an opportunity based on what you were just saying. If you're not really sure about education, the Centrals will have kind of, I don't know exactly how you would describe it, like sort of education light.
They are, and I think what we really do is think about when we talk about what we call the building knowledge sessions, the larger sessions. They're a little bit more presenter driven. It's a little bit more of a classroom education type session where they're delivering content. The centrals are a little less formal. The presentations are shorter. They're designed hopefully to be a little bit more peer-to-peer contact, smaller rooms, and so
Interactive.
Yeah, they're much more interactive, and they give the attendees a little bit, and it gives us an opportunity too to get some more niche topics that maybe aren't going to fill a 300-seat room, but we can get 50 or 60 really interested folks into a central.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially because the centrals are so niched out. What else do you think people should know about education? Is there anything that you think, hey, if you've never attended or the RFP obviously closed, you're working on it now, but if they've thought about being a speaker in the future or being involved in education at all, are there any things you would tell people?
Yeah, I would say submit. Make sure you understand we do put out topics of interest. So try to follow the topics of interest. That's what our members are looking for. So follow that guideline. A lot of our speakers bring in a builder, put groups together to speak, so it's not just one person spouting it off. So having that builder interface is great as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. So there are different types of sessions. So that would be a panel.
Correct.
And then what are the other types?
Just a single speaker.
Okay.
You've got that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then the centrals.
I would say too, if they're interested in presenting come see what we're putting out there and look at some of the sessions and come to find this. Every year we also try to find the sessions that are really popular. And with the app, we can now sort of track what people are putting on their schedule.
Right.
So we know in advance, hey, this is going to be a pretty popular session, so we'll offer that twice
have the
as an encore.
Yeah.
So attend those. Go see the sessions that really work and that are really popular, and that'll help them understand what we're looking at and what really a good presentation looks like.
Yeah, that's great advice. Okay, I have one last question. I feel like each year the education has a lot of different topics, a lot of different speakers. it seems like you're really working to make sure there's a diverse offering. How do you accomplish that?
We work hard to make sure that we do have a diverse offering of content. And really about 6 years ago or so, we spent a lot of time developing tracks where all the education is. We recognize that our attendees aren't just builders. We get a lot of attendees that are designers, architects, sales professionals, every facet of the building industry. And so we have the content broken into those tracks. And then we also really try to work hard, not just in the content, but with the speakers that we use, and making sure that we get good geographic representation, and we get industry veterans, but we also get a lot of young professionals, and just really try to make sure that we're connecting with as many attendees as possible.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is. It's a lot of fun, but it is really, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. That's great. Well, I want to thank you for being here today, and thank you for all your hard work on this. I know it's a long slog.
Almost done.
Yeah, almost done. I heard that maybe you'll get done by 5 o'clock tomorrow on a Friday.
We're hoping.
Yeah. And for everyone else who contributed. I know there's
It's up to the chair to make sure we get done, so we better get done by 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah. If it's 7 o'clock, you guys are ordering pizza tomorrow night and Friday night. Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate this is the first podcast for the 26th show. I think most people know, but it'll be our last year in Orlando. Mm-hmm. It's February 17th through the 19th. Registration opens September 2nd, and we're very excited about this show. I think it's going to be great. I mean, we are going to be wall to wall in these buildings. And we'll talk a little bit at some point about where education's located. It'll be very different for people because they've been used to being in just one building in Las Vegas, so it'll be a little bit different in Orlando. So I think that's it. Thank you for being here, and we'll come to you in a week or so with the next Builder Show Insider. Thank you.
Thank you.